It's funny to look back at it now because that was before social media where you had a reach that was so much greater. It was just an 11-year-old with a pen and paper. Your voice is not small. It just needs to be heard.
This is one of the ways we're very different. When I was 11, I was playing a prostitute.
Hollywood legend Brooke Shields has spoken out about her horrendous encounter on stage with Meghan Markle at the South by Southwest festival, and it's clear that the two divas didn't get on at all.
Super annoying, super annoying.
Brooke Shields just destroyed Meghan Markle with one savage sexual remark during her preachy dish soap tale.
Ms. Markle, the fake Duchess, she wasn't happy with being challenged.
Meghan's face turned pale the moment Brooke mentioned playing a prostitute at age 11. The jab was brutal, public, and irreversible.
Meghan Markle's going to be fuming about this one.
The damage was done, and Meghan knew there was no coming back. When Brooke Shields drops a truth bomb, the whole world listens. And when that bomb just so happens to land right on top of Meghan Markle's tired little look at me act, oh, it's not just a viral moment. It's a cultural reset.
Brooke Shields, a total legend, and she makes it so clear that she just couldn't put up with Meghan's nonsense.
It all started in June 2024, when Brooke finally opened up on India Hicks' Substack podcast about what really went down during Meghan's painfully staged performance at SXSW back in March. And no, it wasn't a panel. It was a one-woman TED Talk on self-obsession, and Brooke wasn't having it.
Why are you choosing to put that out in the world?
Let me just give you the context. It's Meghan complaining about people being allowed to say things that she doesn't like.
Just imagine packed house, thousands of people, Katie Couric moderating like the legend she is, and Meghan Markle smugly sitting there, about to go on another one of her Hallmark-style origin story rants.
God, did I tell you?
No.
Oh God, I don't know if you'll have to cut this out, but you might. I don't know. You'll decide later, okay?
This is the best bit of all.
This is the best bit of all.
Keep it in.
So, I don't know if I'm going to get hated, but I get a call from Katie Couric, and she's doing South by Southwest.
But before she could even finish her fifth sentence about when I was 11, Brooke Shields comes in swinging. And what does she say? When I was 11, I was playing a prostitute. Silence, then roaring laughter. Meghan's performance persona didn't just crack. It shattered into a million pieces right there on that stage.
I was trying not to be rude, but I wanted to be funny because it was so serious. And I just want to give everybody here a context as to how we're different. I said, well, when I was 11, I was playing a prostitute. The place went insane.
Brooke didn't need a crown or a title to own that moment. One savage sentence, and the Precious Duchess Act collapsed like a wet paper towel. And while Meghan stood there trying to remember her next rehearsed line, the internet had already clipped the moment. Within just a few days, over 4.3 million people had watched it. TikTok, YouTube, X, you name it. It was a full-blown humiliation loop. You couldn't scroll for 5 seconds without seeing Meghan's awkward, tight-lipped reaction, while Brooke straight up ended her with a single line.
I love Brooke Shields more than I've ever loved her after that moment, because just so much honesty, and it's the type of honesty that celebrities have not been prepared to express about Meghan Markle before.
Now here's the thing. This didn't come out of nowhere. Brooke had been holding this in since March. It took her 3 months to finally unload because, let's be honest, it's hard to process secondhand embarrassment at that level.
It was just too precious. And I was like, they're not going to want to sit here for 45 minutes and listen to anybody be precious.
And she said it herself. People don't want to sit for 45 minutes listening to someone pretend to be deep. Meghan wasn't giving inspiration. She was giving bedtime story for adults, and not the good kind.
She's sort of burst open now to say what she wanted to say for the whole year, and actually to be honest about it, tell her, will you shut up? You're talking a load of rubbish.
And yes, we have to talk about the infamous dish soap story. Again? Because of course Meghan brought it up. Again. Meghan's ride or die tale about writing to Procter & Gamble at age 11 and changing the world one dish commercial at a time has officially passed the threshold of parody. This woman has repeated that story over a dozen times. Over a dozen. From her old blog, The Tig, to her interviews, to her podcast, to her royal sob tour. It's her default sob story setting.
Actually keeps on going back to when I was 11, when I was 11, when I was 11, as if this is the most important part of her life. What nonsense is that? You know, it's complete rubbish.
But here's the real kicker. According to her actual former classmates, that letter wasn't even her solo moment of glory. It was a class assignment, a group effort. That's right. Miss Empowerment Warrior of the Century just hijacked a school project and turned it into a personal mythology. But does she ever mention that part? Of course not. She just keeps pumping out the same sanctified version, like she's the Rosa Parks of dish detergent.
She couldn't take it, so she told her off, shut up. You know, who cares what you're doing when you're 11? I was doing much more interesting things when I was 11, and, so shut up. This is supposed to be fun. They're supposed to enjoy it. You know, who the hell do you think you are?
And don't think the audience didn't notice. Even Katie Couric, bless her patience, had to awkwardly nudge Meghan to retell the story by saying, I don't know if everyone's heard it. Girl, everyone has heard it. 7 times. Minimum. You could have been living under a rock in Antarctica and still know about Meghan and her sacred little letter. And let's not forget the main punchline here. Meghan said, when I was 11, no less than 8 times in under 3 minutes. 8 times. That's a once every 20 seconds ratio of pure, unfiltered self-glorification. It wasn't a speech. It was a shrine to her own childhood ego. The audience looked exhausted. Shields looked like she was mentally filing a restraining order against the word 11.
She was going to just smash her up, and that was it, wasn't she? She had enough of it. She didn't want that. She didn't, she wanted it to be more lighthearted.
And then Brooke drops the grenade. No warning, no build-up. Just, when I was 11, I was playing a prostitute. It was dry, it was brutal, it was iconic, and the whole crowd lost it. You could feel the shift. It went from watching Meghan preach at a TED Talk to watching her get dragged off the virtual stage with a shepherd's crook.
The thing about Meghan is that when someone said something about her or really criticised her, and this is one especially about being 11, she then waits to find a way to get her own back. That's what she's done, hasn't she, with her father, with the royal family.
For context, Brooke was talking about her role in Pretty Baby, a movie from 1978 where she portrayed a child sex worker, a role that later became one of the most controversial in Hollywood's entire history of child exploitation. That's not a joke. That's real trauma.
I don't really think she needs anything from Meghan Markle, and I certainly don't think she needs to fear Meghan Markle in any way either, so I absolutely loved it.
And she brought it up to highlight the absurdity of Meghan's obsession with being the world's most woke 11-year-old. The contrast was insane. One girl was navigating the filth of adult Hollywood as a literal child. The other was crying over soap commercials from the safety of her living room.
Well, her reaction to Brooke Shields after that moment would surely have been, oh no, it was brilliant. You made everyone laugh. It was brilliant, Brooke Shields. Thank you. But it was so clear that that wasn't her reaction.
And how did Meghan respond? With the fakest, most frozen laugh you've ever seen. Her smile tightened so hard it looked like her face was buffering. She tried to chuckle along, but you could practically hear her inner monologue short-circuiting. Because here's the thing. She couldn't control the moment. And Meghan without control? That's Meghan off-brand. Brooke later explained in the podcast that she was just trying to cut through the preciousness of Meghan's monologue, which means enough with the soft focus victim stories. The panel was supposed to be fun, engaging, maybe even a little raw, but instead, Meghan turned it into another self-worship session. Brooke wasn't having it. She pulled the ripcord, dropped a nuclear-level one-liner, and saved the entire room from death by overexposure to Markle martyrdom.
And that has got to change, because I understand there's a bottom line, and I understand that a lot of money is being made there. But even if it's making dollars, it doesn't make sense.
Whoa. Super annoying, super annoying.
And the result? Meghan once again became the punchline instead of the pioneer. The Duchess who tried to own the conversation about feminism and media ended up being the one person in the room nobody wanted to hear. The whole dynamic flipped in 10 seconds. Meghan went from, "Look at me," to "Please stop looking at me."
She's almost the last person that anybody wants to be with, because they'll feel actually they're a bit dirty from it.
This was supposed to be a redemption arc, a comeback tour, a platform to remind the world why Meghan Markle mattered. But what happened instead was a full-on exposure. A reality check served cold by none other than Brooke Shields, who had the guts to say what everyone else was too scared to. It's time to stop pretending this woman is some misunderstood visionary. She's a PR machine with one setting and one story. And Brooke unplugged it in front of everyone.
It's a way of kind of being like, yeah, that's nonsense, stop complaining. That's what I get from Brooke Shields, because I was annoyed watching Meghan there.
Because Meghan didn't just flinch on stage, she melted down off it. Multiple insiders claimed Meghan went full Ice Queen on Brooke Shields backstage, giving her the legendary cold shoulder treatment like some D-list reality villain whose spotlight got stolen. Shields later confirmed it on her podcast. Meghan wasn't happy being challenged. No surprise there.
Absolutely. They think that it might be unclean to get too close to her. And I think they're, and she doesn't realize it yet.
Word is, Archwell's PR team went into full panic mode, scrubbing all traces of Brooke's prostitute joke from their social clips. Like deleting it from the internet would erase the humiliation. Too late. Within 48 hours, the moment was trending under hashtag #MeghanAwkward and hashtag #BrookeTheQueen, pulling in over 15 million views. PR experts dubbed it a brand disaster. Meghan can dish it, but God forbid someone serves it back.
There are people out there that are wanting to cater to programming for those women who just have a place.
Look at the Golden Bachelor.
Hello, and where's the Golden Bachelorette?
Well, the Golden Girls, which was interesting, they were like 40 or something.
They were the same age as the girls on Sex and the City now.
So right after Meghan got publicly vaporized by Brooke's mic drop prostitute line, you'd think she'd take the L and sit this one out for a bit. But no, not Meghan. Our Duchess of Delusion somehow thought that was the perfect time to lecture the world on cyberbullying. Because when in doubt, deflect.
What if it was your friend or your mom or your daughter? You wouldn't do it. And I think that is the piece that is so lost right now.
There she was on the SXSW stage, whining about how inhumane online spaces have become. And I mean, whining. The whole, what if it was your daughter or mother or friend act, delivered with those watery eyes and trademark fake compassion tone. But let's just pause for a second. Did Meghan seriously just try to be the face of anti-bullying?
Relax, but she's got to keep on nagging at herself to be number one, and that she's making her cry and be unhappy. Well, she's not there because she has to be.
Now, just when you thought it couldn't get more embarrassing, Meghan's brand somehow found a new low. Just weeks after the SXSW implosion, Netflix held its Next On global fan event. Where they hype up their biggest stars and upcoming shows. Guess who was completely absent? That's right, the Duchess of Netflix herself. Meghan's been under contract with them since 2020 and still got ghosted harder than a bad Hinge date.
Netflix are going to stand by Meghan Markle and complete backing this ludicrous business. What seems very obvious is that they're not proud of it, Angela. They're not proud of their association with this woman.
Insiders say her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, whatever that even is now in PR freefall. And what's the only clip going viral from her end? A video of Meghan teaching people how to cut a pineapple. Yes, seriously. That's the big comeback content. Forget real work or meaningful messaging. Just Meghan in a garden whispering about how nature has given you all the cues. What does that even mean? One commenter nailed it. Is she pitching fruit or leading a cult?
American Riviera Orchard is in another mark of trademark hell, as the brand continues to struggle to even get off the ground. And as time goes on, this gets more and more perilous for Meghan Markle and her ability to make money with Prince Harry.
This wasn't just cringe, it was career malpractice. Meanwhile, Netflix doubled down on promoting The Crown and totally sidelined Meghan's projects. The message was loud and clear. We've moved on. And honestly, who can blame them? Meghan's idea of public engagement is offering culinary enlightenment to people who already know how to use a knife. The moment trended under hashtag Meghan flops again because the internet never forgets. And they never let dumb pineapple tutorials slide.
You know, nobody wants to invite her to whether it's a concert or it's a party or whatever's going on. Everyone is getting back because they don't want, stepping back because they don't want to feel that they are close to her.
But the biggest crash wasn't just on Netflix. It was public sentiment itself. Once upon a time, and we mean like 3 press cycles ago, Meghan was the most Googled person in the world. That was 2020. Now in 2024, she can't pull meaningful engagement unless Brooke Shields is there to remind people she still exists. That SXSW panel was proof. In the beginning, the crowd was polite, maybe even hopeful. But as Meghan's sermon on the soap story dragged on, you could feel the energy nosedive. People were side-eyeing, phones were coming out. Brooke's jokes, they landed. Meghan's monologue, it tanked. Social media users didn't hold back either. The comment sections across all platforms turned into a roast session. Meghan peaked at 11. Brooke carried that entire panel. Please, no more soap stories. The crowd wasn't just bored. They were done. Done with the repetition. Done with the self-praise. Done with the idea that Meghan Markle is some kind of revolutionary icon when she's just recycling middle school assignments for clout. Meghan got exposed, the internet saw it all, and trust me, this meltdown is far from over. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what comes next.